Hey guys, my name's Ariella. If you're new here, I make YouTube videos about medical school and lifestyle and education, so if you're interested in any of that, just stick around. Today, I want to try and talk very candidly about my college experience. So the first thing that I want to say is that I'm not going to be saying the name of the college that I went to. You can probably find that online on my social media, but it's not for privacy reasons. It's just because it doesn't matter, to be honest. Of course, all the colleges are going to have different things and different types of things that they can offer you as a student. I can tell you that I went to a very big engineering school, so the STEM courses at the school that I went to were very, very strong. However, at the end of the day, if medical school is your career path, I've got to be honest and say that it doesn't really matter what undergraduate institution you go to. If there's research at a school that you're particularly interested in, or if a school is in your state and so it'll be a lot less expensive for you, I would make your decision on what school you go to not based on the likelihood that that school will get you into medical school. The way the application cycle works right now, it really doesn't matter what school you go to as long as you get good grades and you have either like some opportunity to do research or volunteer and you're active in clubs that you really enjoy. So I went into college largely unprepared for how difficult it was going to be. I was basically a straight A 4.0 student. I think my final average in high school was over a 4.0. So I did really well in high school and I didn't really have to try that hard in order to do well in high school. I think for a lot of people that's kind of the case. High school isn't super hard if you have the time and you apply yourself. I did notice though that in high school I had to work a little bit harder than some of my peers who were even more academically gifted than I was, and that's an important point to note for later, that I had to do a little bit more work. Alright, so let's talk first semester freshman year. I was pretty overwhelmed at first. I wasn't used to the way it worked. My school we didn't have block scheduling, or I don't know what they call it, when you have like your science classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then your other classes Tuesday, like A day and B day. Does that make sense? I didn't have that in high school, and that's obviously more like what a college schedule is scheduled like, so I wasn't used to that. In addition, I wasn't used to how much more difficult the classes were. They were definitely more difficult in content, and I'll say that I was probably pretty well prepared by my high school because my high school also very strongly stressed math and science and other STEM fields. So I was prepared for that kind of work, but I wasn't prepared for the amount of it that I was gonna have to do. All in all, freshman year went pretty smoothly. I stumbled over a couple classes, but it wasn't anything to be too concerned about. I was pretty certain that I was going to be able to improve my grades sophomore, junior, and senior year, and so I wasn't worried about getting into medical school. Let's jump into sophomore year. Sophomore year is where it all kind of went downhill for me, and I don't really have a good reason why, to be honest. I think what really happened, and what I will stress to those of you who are in your freshman year now, is that freshman year I didn't apply myself as much as I should have. I probably spent one too many nights not doing homework, not really grasping the material, and then when I moved on to the harder classes sophomore year, I did not have the foundation that I needed. I thought that, oh, like I took these chemistry and bio courses AP high school, so I'll be fine and I can just jump right into the new material sophomore year and be okay. And that was absolutely not the case. First, and I've said this before on my channel, AP classes do not equal college classes. They are not the same. The time frame that you're learning the material is so much shorter in college. If anything, I would treat AP courses as a way to roll into the new college courses. So taking an AP course in high school is great, and then using that knowledge from that AP course in high school when you're learning the college material at a faster rate is great. And then when you move on to your new material at the faster rate, you'll be used to the pace of the class, and so you'll be able to master it. I did not have a good enough foundation, and so I struggled really hard in the upper level bio courses. I struggled really hard in bio lab, and I particularly struggled very hard in organic chemistry. So this was kind of my wake up call when I got a C in organic chemistry, and so my brain went like a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, oh no, this is not good. I felt like I was lost, that I couldn't do anything because I didn't have the foundation from these courses, and now I'm getting C's, and if I get a C in organic chemistry, how am I going to do well in later courses? I felt very, very uncomfortable. And that's a position that I don't want anyone to feel like they have to be in, because it's avoidable. Here's where I made mistake number 2. I never talked to anyone. I didn't talk to my professors, I didn't talk to the TAs, I didn't talk to students in the upperclassmen who had taken these courses and been successful before. I was stubborn for no reason, and I didn't feel like I needed help. Obviously, I did. So, moving on to junior year. Like I said, organic chemistry was a big wake-up call for me, because I was dead certain that with a C on my transcript in Organic Chemistry 1 and Organic Chemistry 2, I was not going to get into medical school ever unless I retook those classes. So, with the thought that I might need to retake these classes in the future, I wanted to boost my GPA as much as I possibly could. So I threw myself into academics, and I got a 4.0 junior year and a 4.0 senior year. There's not that much to discuss about that. What I think is interesting is that the shift in my mindset is what improved my grades so much. Obviously, because I was taking these much, much harder upper level bio courses with a crappy foundation from when I didn't do that well freshman and sophomore year, and yet I still managed to get a 4.0 those 2 years. I've talked about this before, but I really threw myself into the community of medical students at my school as well, and that's something that really helped me. I also limited the number of extracurricular activities that I was doing, and this is a big disclaimer. If there's something or some things that you want to do extracurricularly, I absolutely recommend that you do them, because everyone needs something to do outside of school to literally keep them sane. And if that's multiple things for you, that's awesome. It'll help teach you time management, and it'll help teach you how to work in a group, and just all these different things that are so wonderful, such wonderful qualities that you need for medical school. However, this kind of happened naturally for me. I really only enjoyed this a cappella group. It was the only thing that really made me excited after studying long hours, and so I only joined the a cappella group. That's the only thing I did outside of academics. And I was on there, I held officer positions in the group, so that's another thing that helped me later on. Alright, so that's basically my college experience. Oh, I can talk about my favorite classes from undergrad, which is so lame. This is actually something interesting that I've noticed since being in medical school, and something that I wasn't expecting per se. And that's that some of my upper level bio courses, senior, junior year of college, the content was a lot harder to understand than the content of what I'm learning in medical school right now. I don't know if that's because I've always enjoyed learning about the human body, and so whenever something is related to the human body, I find it easier, or if the classes actually are easier. I'm not sure. Like I said, my school was very STEM, very academically driven, and so those classes tended to be pretty hard. But they were also some of my favorites, and that's because when you do really well in a class that's really hard, it's extremely fulfilling. So my favorite classes were definitely human physiology, which was a bio course, and developmental biology. But I also loved all the psych courses that I took, and I took basically all of them that you possibly could. Let's think least favorite courses. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that Orgo was not my strong suit. I did end up going back and retaking Organic Chemistry 2 because I really felt like I didn't understand that at all. I felt like I at least had some understanding of Orgo 1. Orgo 2 was a big mess. So I did end up retaking that, and I think I got an A- when I retook it. So, clearly my understanding was decent enough. I really think it was just the change in mindset. But yeah, Organic Chemistry, not my favorite. Oh, and physics. That's another one that people really don't like, and they feel like it's like has a reputation as a weed out course for medical school. But once you get through it, it's basically over, so that's really nice. And I had a friend who would teach me physics, which was also really helpful. But yeah, physics, organic chemistry, not my favorite. But the upper level bio classes were my favorite. Let's talk about the end. I applied to medical school senior year of college. I received one interview and I did not get in. And to be honest, I was kind of expecting that because my grades weren't amazing. I think at the end I had like around a 3.5 GPA, which is not terrible, but it's not fantastic. My MCAT score was also pretty lacking. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't great. And so that was like the big kicker for me, is I couldn't master the freaking MCAT. If I had been able to do that, I probably would have ended up either getting in sooner or feeling a lot more confident about myself sooner. But something about sitting down for 7 hours and taking an exam just really like did not work for me. So with my subpar GPA and my subpar MCAT, I was not very excited. And obviously I didn't get in. So I reassessed what I was doing. I think I've said this before, all this stuff I've said before. I used med school coach after working for about a half year as a scribe and asked them, like, what should I do at this point? Because I couldn't talk to my college advisor because I wasn't in college anymore. So med school coach kind of acted like a college pre-med advisor for me. And I asked them what I should do, and they recommended that I not take the MCAT again because at that point I had already taken it 3 times and improved my score. So if I took it a 4th time and got a lower score, it probably would have looked really bad. And like I said, it was a pretty decent MCAT score, but it wasn't amazing. So they recommended that I just do more volunteering and continue working as a scribe as long as I can. And something that they told me that was like very encouraging was that my application wasn't hopeless. And I needed someone to tell me that, because in my mind, having 2 C's in organic chemistry 1 and 2 and having a subpar MCAT was basically like the death of my medical career. And so I'm here today to tell you that it's not, and it might take a little bit more time and a little bit more work after college. At the end of the day, I'm really, really happy that it happened the way it did, because I got so much extra job experience and life experience in that extra year living away from home. And I don't know, if I had to go back, I probably wouldn't change anything. I don't know if I would have been as well equipped for medical school a year ago as I am now, and now I'm doing really well. So it's all just kind of a big toss-up. I was scared for a while that if I didn't get in the first year, then it was hopeless and I was going to be too old. But in fact, the average age of a starting medical student is 25 years old, so it is not too late. If it's been 3 years since you graduated undergrad and you're still trying, I can only encourage you to continue. You only need to get in once, and it'll all be okay in the end. All right, so that's my college experience. If you have any questions, just leave them down below. If you have any video requests, let me know, and I'd be happy to make basically anything, because, well, I'm not on break anymore by the time this is up, probably, but I'll try my best. Next up is anatomy, so we'll see. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.